My good friend and moderator Mamak0 has recommended another Warcraft 3 game for us to cast. He said this game is spectacular. I do not know the result. I do not know how long the game is or anything like that. So, pretty excited about it. So, the two players that we're watching here are Happy, also known as Sasha26, which is one of his subscribers' names. Sasha26 is probably his 26th account. I don't know. And he's playing against Wedgies. And that's actually Lin Guagua. Lin is a tribute to the orc player from Korea, Lin. And Gua is actually me. Grubby is pronounced Guabi in Chinese. Gua. Right? Gua meaning melon. So he's Lin, and then he's Gua. So this was the two players he was looking at when he was learning the race orc. He's a younger player from China. And I would say he's probably top 3 orc China, maybe top 2 orc. Definitely not someone that I would think is going to give Happy a particularly close game. But here we are, watching a spectacular replay, most likely, that has been recommended highly by my Twitch moderator, Mamak. So, I'm excited about it. So let's start getting into the nitty-gritty of things. We have a Blade Master opener with Critical Strike first. Gives him just a little bit faster creeping speed. Very cool that he pulls the creep count to leverage the ensnare. The way that ensnare works on any creeps that have it is they ensnare units that enter its ensnare range. They typically don't often ensnare units that are already inside its range. And the range is something like 700 range, 800 range, which is a little more than a ranged hero has in its attack range. So if a unit enters that range, that's generally when the Murloc will try to throw ensnare. So if you take 2 steps back, you see the Acolyte Scout there, and your Blade and Grunt pull back, suddenly the Acolyte is hovering around that range, and he'll choose to ensnare that rather than a Grunt. This is relatively predictable and reproducible behavior. So Lin Guagua showed a good understanding of Warcraft 3 mechanics, and he also showed a good understanding of where the sentry went. Recognizing Death Knight has the sentry drop from the camp. You can actually hear it if you're within the range and the view of where the invisible sentry goes. Even if you couldn't hear it, you could still see where the DK has been, and then when he turns around, so you can pretty much intuit that there's going to be a sentry ward there. These days, there was a recent interview after a tournament in China, and they asked a lot of different players, what do you think is the most OP unit in Warcraft 3? And I could never have predicted their answer from many of them. Many said Ghoul. I don't know if that's tribute to Happy and how he uses them. The Ghoul itself is nothing spectacular. Most undeads don't even utilize its cannibalize ability. And even Frenzy Ghoul comes out relatively late. I suspect it's mostly owed to the fact that Ghoul is a unit that heals, quote-unquote, for free. Because it is your worker unit, it has the flexibility of a militia, like from the human peasants, that filters in and out of combat, that cycles in and out of combat. But it has, you've got more of them, and one ghoul mines like 2 peasants, and then you can bring them into creeping, they drop low, you put them back on blight, they heal automatically. Even militia do not enjoy such an advantage. So maybe that's why undeads have recently gotten way more into ghoul creeping than they had been into fiend creeping. And this has given them really early level 3 Death Knight. And they're going to use it like so. Coming in, trying to find some low units. Good body blocks and cycles. This Grunt is within double coil range, but Happy doesn't want to take that route. So nothing dies. That was definitely a risky play by Lin Guagua, but it was a well-considered risk. The moment you have DK and Blade look at each other, like in a cowboy western shootout, and you're both daring each other in a game of chicken, pretty much Blade grows impotent to do anything with his grunts, because if they're just looking at each other, DK is like, go ahead, chump. Start the creep camp. I've got a level 3 DK. I'll steal all the big creeps. I'll kill your units, your hero. So it is very important when DK3 shows up to stop what you're doing, to split off the Blade. The Blade himself can give the shake off to the Death Knight because he's fast and can turn invis. But the grunts are slower than Death Knight, so DK could just stay near without the risk of getting taken down or stopped. And only Ensnare and Hex could really try to save him, save your units from the fate of the Death Knight. So this is going to be a deny or a really good body block by Lin Guagua. This is actually really, really insane. He's doing some fantastic control. Now, Happy probably has really good instinct about where that grunt is going. Number 1 level psychology would be to walk to the left, to continue along its path. And the sneaky thing to do would be to stand behind this red spot. And Happy didn't see the grunt, but I think he knew either I'm going to meet it on the way to the left, or by attacking this creep camp, most likely the grunt will die if it's AFK behind it. But Lin Guagua showed really good unit control. I'm so far really impressed, and it's not just because of the likelihood of what Mamak said that this game is going to be good that makes me over-appreciate everything. I really am impressed by what he has done so far. Not leaving his grunt on hold position behind the camp, where he would have died in the death trap of the creep camp once Happy aggroed it, but already on the way to moving it away from that camp. That was really, really nice. So, didn't lose any unit to DK3 Rush with full mana. That is mighty impressive. Did cast him some heal salves and speed scrolls. He also had to skill Heal Wave first, which in my experience was not common. Usually, at least I do, and maybe that's outdated, I go Hex first, and then I Hex one of the creeps that cast Bloodlust or Inner Fire. The idea of hexing the Bloodlust guy is that you take less damage. But I suppose Heal Wave does the same thing. You also take less damage because you actually have a spell that heals. Mana for healing, mana for damage reduction or mana for healing is the same thing, right? It comes down to numbers. Now, because he wasn't level 2 yet, okay, hold that thought. Let's first look at this. Very nice. He has Greater Healing Potion on the Shadow Hunter, so he took those spells on the Shadow, able to survive. He's definitely looking to go for the Death Knight. There is another Nova. He's going to get the Death Knight, even though he loses the Shadow. So that's a level 2 Shadow dying for a level 3 Death Knight. I expect Happy to cancel everything and to instantly re-buy the Death Knight, which cost him about 470 gold. No mana pot on the DK. That means that the Blade only has to survive a Frost Nova, which he got really close to being in kill range of, but not quite yet. Okay, so the Blade actually has been revealed. I think it could die. Doesn't quite. Really, really close. And meanwhile, Lin Guagua has been focusing on killing those ghouls. The ghouls have 1/1 upgrades. Happy chosen not to go with a third hero at this time, instead investing in his ghouls with the 1/1 upgrade, so that was nice. Kodo probably ate a ghoul, and the Wind Raider has been really, really valuable as well, in that it cannot really be taken down except with a salvo of spells. And another thing that Happy could do, of course, is to switch the orb from Lich to DK, but that is not the time or place yet. Generally, first you ignore the Wind Rider and you deal with it later on. He's been trying to suppress the damage of Blade by focusing it. Grunts are more tanky than they are damaging, so they are the last target you should choose to fire until you have Destroyers. Once you have Destroyers, they should be your first target. But when you only have ghouls, you should probably go for heroes, as normal damage is least mitigated by hero armor. Yeah, I think Hex first on Shadow when creeping makes more sense when countering Inner Fire, because you will creep it faster. But Bloodlust doesn't actually make you creep something slower. So if your first camp gives you level 1.9 and it's Bloodlust, just get heal. And if your first camp has an Inner Fire, Troll Priest 4, then you should get Hex. Otherwise, the Inner Fire makes you take so long. It's not even about how much damage do you take while doing it. It's about how much damage do you deal to it, aka how slow are you to take it. So either hexing Lich or hexing DK could be a play here. He goes for the Lich, thinking Coil is not going to get here in time, most likely. That was the thinking. And he can probably get it on the after Coil, because at this point, Lich, not a lot of armor yet, does have the Periapta Fatality. And he did have Greater Info, by the way. Was it not worth to use Greater Info? It's only a level 1 Lich, but I think you would still pick it. There's one thing that Happy... There's two things Happy is allergic to. Wishing someone good luck and playing for a second without Lich. He always opens games with HF. He doesn't want you to have luck. He probably thinks that is, what do you call it? Hypocritical. I don't know what that's called in Russian, but hypocritical. To wish someone good luck, even though you're trying to beat them. But he will wish you have fun. He knows you're not going to have fun anyway with your hero, Coil Novat. In comes Lin Guagua again. We have the level 6 stolen, though, by Happy. That's a Mana Stone. Now he's going for the Wind Rider with the Destroyers. Wind Rider does really good damage on Destroyers. Takes decent damage back as well. Now it's within kill range again. Happy plays very positionally. There could be a high priority target that he doesn't focus because it's too far away. But the thing about Happy that he does better than anyone else, the moment something high prio does go into some kind of imaginary kill line boundary, that's where he suddenly focuses it. So a Kodo at the back, generally ignored. 2 Kodos ignored because he cannot easily deal with the damage boost from the Kodo since there's 2 of it. If you have 1 Kodo and against Fiends and it's at the back, he ignores it. Move it forward to Devour and boom, within half a second it gets focused. Same with the Wind Rider here. He focuses it, forces it back, stops focusing it immediately. I guess that's what 400 APM helps for. Now using the Forest to put the Destroyers over the trees. Perma purging though from the Blade. Lightning Orb, 15% chance, but a high attack speed allows Blade to keep, and a little bit of luck of course, allows Blade to keep focusing. Statue would have sure died because of Purge. Morphs it into a Destroyer so he can coil it. You can't coil statues. Still a win for Blade in a way. He has forced a statue that could give health and mana to become a Destroyer without mana. Right? By focusing it and expending some health and mana and an invulnerability potion. Still a win for Happy as well because he didn't lose a unit and Blade lost his invulnerability potion. TC gets level 2. Has no items to his name right now. I'm looking at the hero levels. Pretty even. In fact, a little in favor of Lin Guagua, which is really impressive. And you may not know, but Northern Isles is one of Happy's favorite maps. It's one of his go-tos in every matchup. Periapto Fatality. In theory, Blade should have Periapto Fatality or Shadow, and Ring of Protection should be on Tauren Chieftain. And the reason is, anytime you have 2 types of damage coming in, either spell or physical, you want to make sure that you protect against both equally, rather than everything against one. So TC, low armor, high health. By giving him more health, you make him even more impervious to spell damage, but he doesn't gain as much protection against physical by comparison. And that Periapto Fatality would be extra valuable on someone that already has higher armor, like the agility-based Blade or Shadowhunter. Nonetheless, you can still play it this way if you feel like TC is mostly at risk for nuking. But again, I don't think that's true. But anyway, this is how he has it right now. It's true that Blade does get focused a lot by physical attacks, so you can just double down on it. It should be remembered that every point of armor is worth exactly as much effective health against that type of armor, against physical damage, as the previous point. So there's no diminishing returns for armor. If only Blade gets physically attacked, you would put all 6 rings on him. But it's the discerning opponent that sees the inventory spread and sees, hey, all your rings are on Blade. Okay, I'll only spell nuke him for the most part. No rings on TC. Okay, I physically attack it. So here, this is an interesting moment. Happy uses the opportunity to take down, let's call it 3 towers. And Lin Guagua had a choice to defend them and to add the power of his army to the towers. Or he takes the trade and uses the time to get a creep camp, which is of course what he ended up choosing. I'm not sure losing a bat to Coil Nova is that bad. Nova has splash. Oh, this is ambitious. Lin Guagua starts the red camp. Is he going to force finish it? He's got Town Portal. I think you coil the Lich. Okay. That's not too bad. I think he lost 1 Kodo. The bat was lost earlier. Yeah, he lost 1 Kodo. And he loses the extra 3 creeps from the camp. But he gets the big item, which is... Is it called Amulet of Valor? 5 strength, 5 intelligence. Used to be 4/4, but it was buffed because it was considered underpowered compared to Brilliance, Endurance, and Unholy. Which all 3, by the way, have been nerfed as well in the last 4 years. So this item is relatively better compared to the RS than before. Though I still think you would prefer Brilliance or Unholy here as Orc over the 5 strength, 5 int. Having said that, it's very good. 5 strength, 5 int. And now he's getting the other spot. Does not have Town Portal, can't pull the same stunt. And he's about to get creepjacked again. Yeah, it's called Medallion of Courage. So he gets Cloak of Flames, which is a fantastic item. Devour is going to remove Speed Scroll. Ghoul's trying to get the surround on the TC. Using Blade to get a couple of kills. Going for the statues. He can try to stomp again. That gives him anti-surround power. There's the Coil Nova on the TC. Huge value from the Medallion of Courage and the Periapt of Vitality. Does another stomp on 2 ghouls. Invul blocks the coil. And what did the blade do in the meantime? There were 2 statues before. How many are there now? TC very close to being dead. Another War Stamp there. Gets blocked a bit. There is a Nova, but there's no coil, so he's not pulling the trigger. Shadowhunter's surround almost. Looks a little treacherous there with the pebbles and the rocks. Pretty hard to see if it is going to be a surround. He's going to heal wave himself now and get the Zeppelin. They're both spamming Zeppelin. And Happy gets it. It's on a 30-second cooldown. So he's able to prevent the Shadowhunter. And I think Blades would be coming in with an invul now. He's even now running invisibly. He's going to try to give the invulnerability to the Shadowhunter. What a long chase. And he lets the shadow go. Says, hey, I know it's dead. He was even looking, hey, is there a greater healing potion in the marketplace or something? He did kill a statue during all that, though. So the shadow died. He's going to remake it here. Maybe he has to take Staff of Teleportation to get back home with it. Because he's going to come in from the wrong side. I wouldn't mind if he got... Oh, he just sold his Devotion Aura, dropped Pendant of Energy, 8 Mana Stone, and picked up Pendant of Energy again. So I think he's going to come in with 90% mana, probably on a pool of something like 450. So when you Tavern Revive, he's got 0 mana. So there's a little pause here. I think he's trying to reload the overlay, whoever recorded this replay. Okay, there we go. Ah, good call. He's experienced. So Happy is expanding here while being on 50 pop. That really takes the wind out of your sails when you expand after being over 50. It pretty much stops your army growth for like 3 minutes. And that gives a bit of a window for Linguagua to be able to equalize army size a bit. Comes in here. There is a silence. He's going to silence him right at the Moment Supreme where the TC would have been in a great spot. We have focus on destroyers. I feel like that's usually bait. I don't think destroyers do that much here. Like, yeah, they're like fiends in focus firing. Like similar damage to fiends, but cost almost twice as much population. But they're the tanks here. I feel like ghouls with the upgrades are the DPS here. That's the one that should be focused. Now, the good thing, of course, is once there are no more destroyers, Hex suddenly has full duration, cannot get dispelled. And that leads to the possibility to get hero kills. So there is something to be said for that. That's a dead Dark Ranger. There's no saving him. This is a very well outfitted Blade Master. And even though he lost all of his Berserkers to Happy's Focus Fire, these are some scary heroes. Once you get TC3, that's the dream. There's no point in hexing now. It's just gonna do some Focus Fire. There's the Invul anyway. He wants to make sure he doesn't get hexed and killed before he can react with Devour Magic on Destroyer. Surrounds would be pretty risky now. There is a heal pot. There is an Invul. TC has 600 health left. Periapt of Vitality is now on Shadow. He gets the Lich with the Hex. The heroes are just insane right now. Very hard to control for the undead. And while Happy does have an expansion, I see some counter expo or counter towering going on at least from Linguagua. has not dealt with the expansion. There's that Zeppelin. Where was that when Lich died? Invulnerability to kill the Zeppelin. If he gets one more hit on the Lich, he could purge it. But Lich stopped moving. There is no dust of appearance. He's going to run away. Invulnerability potion once again. And now we're looking at Happy with equal population pretty much. And a running expansion that I do think Lin Guagua saw. I think he saw the Blight, but he prioritized the hero battle. Now needs loads of mana and clarities. Decides instead to invest all of his money into a safe investment. Tiny Great Hall. Just needs it to work for about a minute to earn it back.
For the Horde, my fellow Orc brothers.
For the Horde! Got double crypt here. No Ziggurat yet at his expansion. One Ziggurat and Nerubian could help a lot to stop some kind of counterattacks. TC, Shadow, getting up on mana. Definitely better hero levels here for Lin Guagua. Almost level 5 Shadow Hunter. Kills a ghoul to hire his Dark Ranger again. He's got 22 lumber at home. Happy. 22 lumber. And I don't see him getting any. I feel like he pulled all of his ghouls for an all-in. And that's risky. Because Lin Guagua, he's kind of well prepared. He's stocked up on items. He had some time. Alright, how do you play this fight? Do you go for the statues? Destroyer, Lich, ghouls. He has made his choice. He went for Lich initially and then switched target to Destroyer. Dust is there, so he keeps his Blade Master safe, or tries to. A lot of Kodos there to eat some ghouls. Given the invulnerability to Blade, initially it was inventory locked, had a heal pot. Sneakily gave over the invul. But the TC and the Blade are both under fire. Shadow level 4.8. Heal Wave level 3 would be the nail in the coffin of the vampire. Peons are still happily mining. Main bases have run out by now. TC dropping real low. There are still level 3 coils. But they have to be very well spent. He decided to just start working on Blade. One coil now. One coil after. Every unit that Lin Guagua loses, a skeleton will rise in its place. No more consumables on Lin Guagua. What you see is what you get. Same thing on Happy side. But the statue keeps healing. Health and mana. No, it's empty actually. A little bit of HP, that's about it. Ghouls are coming in, nice. Couple of free kills. Shadow gets level 3. Heal Wave is level 5. Blade walks to the shop, picks up another invul. And all peons have been put to rest forever. The sweet dream of everlasting Horde. Horde holes? I don't know. Everlasting what? Purgatory. Where do orcs go when they're in the when they go to heaven? Ancestral spirits? Yeah, I like to think that. The sweet embrace of the ancestral spirits, where every Tauren that didn't get resurrected rests in the war room of the Horde. So Lin Guagua, currently no income. He's fixing that again. Peons are going back to work. Happy's been mining all this time. 49 pop. Gets Illusion Wand. Make sure that DK is so far back that it cannot possibly be hexed. So that he can coil the Lich. Knowing this is what orcs do when it gets nitty gritty. Focus the Lich. Illusion Wand is something that Happy does a lot. He's the only player that I know that gets Illusion Wand at this time. You know who else did it actually? Sokol, the German player. It's him and Happy that love Illusion Wands the most of anyone I know. And it's funny because in theory Illusion Wand should be bad, right? Because look at it. It has not taken any damage. But the worse player you're against, the better Illusion Wand is. Because they're gonna accidentally unload damage on Illusion Wand by attack moving. So essentially, if someone buys Illusion Wand against you, they're BMing you. It's like them saying, you are a fraud. You don't know how to micro. And the damage dealt on that illusion has validated Happy's expense. It even got hexed. Just because he didn't want to deal with that stuff anymore. Oh! Oh! Stomp! 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 I feel like he had it. Maybe he didn't. TC no longer has mana items. Shadow runs away. He's desperately looking at the inventory at the marketplace. Can I buy anything that keeps me alive? No! And the Lich keeps firing away. You know what? I thought Linguagua had this, but now I see it evaporating before his eyes like snow in the summer sun. Can snow make it to summer? Maybe I should say spring sun. I guess so, yeah. In some countries. Not in Netherlands, to be sure. But some countries, yeah. And this is Azeroth. So who's going to tell me about the weather? Does World of Warcraft cover weather patterns? Maybe we can look into the lore, the official canon of Warcraft. How WoW does it. Now for sure there's War Stomp again. Oh! Gonna try to go for Death Knight. Frost Armor slows everybody down. The one hit and that's about it. Oh, Destroyers are really low. About 3 hits. 1 hit on one, 2 hits on the other. If you can get those. And Happy is out of lumber. That means he can only make 2 ghouls at a time. 1 versus 1 base. Access to the Goblin Shop for Linguagua. Buys another invul. He sold a lot of items this game. Even something as valuable as Parry Up to Fatality. You know, it's the same people that complain about Undead Nuke, but also sell Parry Up to Fatality every single game. Like, I don't have enough health to survive the Coil Nova. Sells Parry Up. This is fine. House on Fire. But I guess he really needed it. Blade is level 6. He did not skill Bladestorm. One of my viewers recently said it best. Bladestorm is the ultimate BM move / victory animation. Because it's never as good as you would hope. It's not worth the mana. Better to get 30 extra damage on every Windwalk. And to move even faster. Bladestorm, massive mana sink. They just split and dodge. Okay, goes for the Lich. Gets the Hex. Where's the Devour? Devour? No Devour? Oi, 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 that was close. And he goes for the Shadow in return. Fighting fire with fire. There we go. There's the Hex. No time for Devour. The Lich is dead. And this time, there is not enough lumber. And that's it. Like I told you. No HF. I mean, no good luck. And no playing without Lich for Happy. Wow. Son of a Lich. What a good game. Linguagua. Very, very well done. Cool. And what's this for, Mamak? A tournament? Or just a ladder game? Do you know?
Is there anything in WC3 that you always wanted to do, but failed?
No, I did everything. I don't know for sure. It was a ladder game. GG, sub to the grub.